definitely got some questions, but some things that are positives. The thing we have in our favor, and never forget this, is that the government has proven over and over that they are idiots, no matter how smart some of the people they have working on some of these things. Like, they thought that their drones were impregnable, and a couple nerds from Stanford, I think, like, took over one in a demonstration for them recently, like a week ago. You know, like, as good as they think they are, our side has the smarter and the better, and you know, we will always have better hackers on our side, I believe, and I think that's something that we can at least feel sort of good about in the greatest
definitely no
the doom.
Their greatest tool for all their history, last 1,000 years, greatest asset they've had is their ruthlessness. They've never thought they'd be as cruel or as lying or as low down as they've been willing to be. And that's how they've always maintained powers. Never through being brighter, smarter, having, again, the fair playing field. Let's do it. Let's try a free market for once. Because they've always get this slanted in their direction because they know they don't have it together. Except through fraud.
Do you want to hear the song?
I'm sorry, what'd you say, Sasha?
Do you want to hear the song? It's starting soon.
Oh, did you start it already?
That's gonna be. Yeah.
Okay, all right, that's fine. I'm sure that listen. This is Jason America's song. We'll are we gonna come in? Are we gonna come into the show with it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'd like to hear it. Wow. We're all fucked, but let's think happy thoughts. No. I love that, Jason. That's Jason America's song. And now was that the Prozac versus Zoloft one?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's Jason American's song. And now was that the Prozac?
Wow.
Oh, goodness.
I'm repeating myself again. You know, that happens sometimes.
The acid trip.
That happened a couple nights ago. It was so weird on A Perfect Place. Wow. Well, you know, I won't go into it now because it's past. But we in studio with me is Kevin Korn, Jason America, and also Patrick Moore. And we were kind of having sort of a sinister conversation of how we feel that we might be chemically engineered, and that now we may not even be able to leave the United States. But on a brighter note, hemp can save the planet, and we do have an answer, and we're definitely talking about it because we're still free enough to have a show running through Skype. Anyway,
There we go. Right. We're here.
we're here. We're here. We're talking about it. So I mean, there's got to be something good happening, and that's how I keep wanting to look at it because sometimes you just look at stuff and you're like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. But you know what? It's like if I can see a crack of light, and it's us. So I'm just gonna. Oh, I smoke some really good shit right now. Anyway.
I understand what you're saying, and I'd like to just chime in on a note real quick as I'm thinking about Fukushima. The most dreadful thing I can think of in the world right now is these updates I keep getting about Fukushima coming out of Japan, and yet I'm reminded that hemp phytoremediates Fukushima, but there are also some algae and some funguses that phytoremediate. They'll eat up the nastiness and digest it, and instead of having to wait 50 years, we wait, can do it in a year or two. So the idea that and that was always the thing that concerned me the most, was of all the problems and mistakes we made, these nuclear power plants melting down all over the planet seemed bigger than anything I could get my head around. And you got to find out in France and in Russia and places all over the world, they're figuring out how to fix that problem. They aren't doing it, but the research is there. We know that and they do, and actually Chernobyl is surrounded with thousands of acres of industrial hemp right now, because it's what's going to speed up that process and make it, survivable. But we do know what to do. The solutions are all there. It's just at this point, it's almost all administrative.
Yeah.
And the oyster mushrooms, don't they clean up oil spills and also radiation?
Most definitely, right? No, there's a whole series of funguses, a whole series of algae, and then hemp. They're called phytoremediation. They'll clean up petroleum and the nuclear messes in the world. So even that, once I realized that a few years ago, I've been able to just boldly move forward, knowing that there's not a single problem on the planet we can't solve. I used to talk about all the others and sort of skip nuclear. I'd be like, well, then maybe we'll still figure out something about that, but we have. We already know the tools.
Well, and that's the case that we already know, and they're not being shared, and it's not being common sense, and they're keeping it from us. I mean, that's criminal.
Yes.
That's criminal.
Yes, it's criminal.
On some level. I mean, even if you call it negligence, even if they were to say, well, we didn't really know, and you'd still it's still negligence. And I mean, and at that kind of level, that has to be, there has to be some sort of retribution, consequence.
Right. No. I believe for most of them, the case we made is more than negligent. I think there's a class and mentality that we haven't been willing to deal with. That's a type of a sociopathic mentality that's allowed these people to rise to the power levels they have and maintain the power they have. It's that historical ruthlessness I mentioned earlier. I think that's rooted in many ways in the type of mental defect that we know as being a psychopath or a sociopath. I think there's a class of sociopaths that's actually dominated much of what we know in politics and big business. And then when we really start identifying the nature of the problems, we're going to find it's all very simple. It's very easy to understand. We have a certain picture of like a Charles Manson or a Hillside Strangler or something as the types of sociopaths. But the more traditional sociopath, extremely well educated, extremely well focused, extremely successful, driven in a way that none of us could really understand towards domination and control and success in business. But at the end, the compassionate person that has no empathy for other human beings, which is intrinsically, I think, what we all feel is human. And yet, many of them are running the world today. And I think it's when we can grasp that we'll see that the solutions, again, are fairly simple when we set up, policing systems around the world to protect us from those dangerous people. Doesn't matter how rich they are, we're still protected from them.
It's like that movie.
The Oath Keepers. I mean, there's a movement around the world to recognize the scale the game we've been playing has been distorted.
It's like that movie American. I mean, it reminds me of the movie American Psycho. Is that the one I'm thinking of? Where,
Yes.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it really, it's very telling, isn't it?
There's a great documentary called I Sociopath, like iPad or iPod, I Sociopath. He spent the first little bit of the film looking around prisons and looking at psych wards, and then realized where the traditional sociopath was, and spent the rest of the film in boardrooms and in D.C., where a lot of these people admitted that, of course, that's how they got where they were at, because they were sociopaths. They're very proud of it as a culture.
Yeah,
And,
American Psycho was basically that. He worked on Wall Street, mergers, acquisitions, and he went, and he didn't really go nuts. It was all in his head. Like at the end, you see he's like daydreaming. It's just crazy, you know. And that movie was great. I thought that was one of his better works.
Well, we're getting down to like the last couple minutes of the show, I want to thank everybody for being here. I know it's early in the morning it's early in the morning on Friday. It's actually the 15th of November now, and in on the Pacific Coast. You guys are all here, and I appreciate it. And so because of that, because of you giving of your time, and I'm sure we've all enjoyed it. I think everybody should get a plug, a shameless plug of like where our listeners. Where's the shame? It's like where our listeners can find you. Patrick, where can people find you online?
Certainly, you can check out Hemprovations at hemp.com. I'm Dr. Mesner on Facebook. It's a fan page. We're going to be down at the Tree House here in Los Angeles, which is California's first cannabis lounge. So it's the evolution of these medical clubs. Somebody's finally opened this. It's like a bar, but there's no liquor, and it's like a social club where you can bring your own cannabis and rent bong. Every type of weird bong and device that's out there is there to be rented for a couple bucks an hour. So it's a beautiful venue. I've been waiting for this type of thing for 15 years. So we're doing a Monday there from 4:20 to 7:10, promoting Jack Hair Initiative. And we're at cchi2014.org and all over Twitter. cchi2014 and Dr. Mesmer on Twitter as well. So yeah, please reach out. Hemp Revolution is strong. It's one of the forefronts we're winning in the biggest way right now. If we can all unify on this front for a minute, the next 10 steps will be that much easier.
Okay, great. Thank you. And Jason, where can people find you?
I stay home a lot.
Okay.
And, pretty much all things Jason America, I think, online. There's not much that I don't have Jason America wise. But JasonAmerica.com, Jason America on Facebook, Vimeo, SoundCloud, probably numerous mugshot sites.
Awesome. And how about you, Kevin?
Anything hardcore entertainment or hardcore comedy on pretty much any social media platform or the internet, you can find it.
Okay, and I'm Terry Joyce, T-E-R-E Joyce, Hollywood Hemptress, Hollywood Hemptress Hour. I have Hollywood Hemptress Hour on Facebook, and Freedom of Joyce on Facebook, and also Trips. And you can follow me on Twitter as well at Hollywood Hemptress, and also Terry Joyce, T-E-R-E Joyce. Anyway, thank you for listening. That's our show tonight. This is Hollywood Hemptress Hour on the Time for Hemp Network on iHeartRadio. We're signing out. Good night.
You're the best, Terry. Thank you.
Thanks.
Joy to the world.
Thanks, you guys. Thanks for staying, Patrick. I know it's late, but you stayed for the whole show. Appreciate it.
Oh, I loved it. No, it's perfect. It's kind of prime time. I'm a big Coast to Coast AM fan. So.
Great. I'd love to have. I'm sorry, I interrupted. That's rude.
No, go on. No. Again, you're a great host. It's a smooth 2 hours. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'd love to have you come back sometime. you know, I mean, you're one of those kind of guests that you can't just get like 2 hours of, you know what I mean? And
All right. No, we should do it again soon. If we can do it sometime while the campaign's still going. The next we got 3.5 months. I'd love to check in, once a month or something. Let you know how we're doing.
that would be great. That's a great idea. Let's do that.
Perfect. Good. We'll chat over Facebook in the next few days, weeks, and line some stuff up. I'll let you know what we're up to, and we'll keep in closer touch. And I appreciate it. 2 hours. It's fantastic. Again, I've been through a bunch of interviews. Not many of them not so good. It gets to really understand what an artist is to making people comfortable. And you're good at it. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. That makes me feel good.
That was a good time. Good. We'll talk again soon then.
Okay. All right. Good to see ya.
That's right.
Yeah.
So,